So it's day 3 of my Kiandra to Kosciuszko walk. Last night there was definitely a bit of mouse activity. Had a little bit of scurrying around, but no harm to any of my gear, so everything's all good. Today is a shorter day than yesterday. It's 22 and a bit K. Yesterday was about 27 and a half. So I'm looking forward to it being slightly shorter. Today also should be a bit easier because there's more signposted, sights and moments along the trail compared to yesterday, where there was just a long stretch of just walking through nondescript kind of areas. I've got a number of creek crossings today, so will definitely get my feet wet. And I also have a hut at about the 9-kilometer mark, which is good because then that kind of breaks up my day. I can have lunch there, and there's a good sense of like achievement hitting a checkpoint. So yeah, looking forward to it. So one of the really good things about today, unlike yesterday, where I had a really long stretch between water sources and I didn't have a water source at camp, is today I don't really have to worry too much. There's a lot of crossings, so just fill up as I go. Don't need to carry extra too much, so it's nice. I think that was Doubtful Creek, which was a pretty awesome creek crossing. I'm glad that I could keep my boots wet, but I was also glad that there was quite a substantial body of water. As a result of going down to the creek though, we're rising up. I think it's for a little while too. So lovely to be walking through a section here of snow gums that weren't burnt. I was very bored through the sections where there's just skeletons of white fingers sticking up, and this is what it would have been like. So yeah, this walk has been good, and some of the stuff today has been great, but it could be even better if it was like this. So it's a real shame, but it's a privilege to have moments like this along this walk. I was just starting to get a bit dispirited that I hadn't made it to the hut yet, because I'm a little bit slower than the time that it's supposed to have taken. But then, you know, I have been filming, and I just spoke to Alyssa as well on that hill back there. But here it is. Pretty excited. Gonna have a stop, have a break, get her an early lunch, I think. Yeah. So that was a very nice hut, I must say. A great spot to stop for a break, and would have been an even better place to stop for the night. But unfortunately, just the distances don't make that work for me, for my itinerary. Anyway, I've got my doofus hat on now. It's a bit sunny. And the next little bit is a further distance, but I think it says less time. So here's hoping, because then I'll get into camp at a good time if that's the case. See how we go. So I've had a bit of an issue. It looks like my camera is not working. The SD card looks to have been corrupted. It was saying that it was corrupted when I got to the hut, but it looked like it was okay again. I was just going, yes, we're good. But I can't replay the last few files, and it goes back to before that incident happened. So I think I'm gonna have to keep just on the side of safety. I'm gonna film the rest of this on the phone, which is not great because it's not as good quality, but it's better than filming and corrupting the card. So I'm just gonna leave it be and press on. So I'm in this kind of bowl-like section between all the mountains. It makes me wonder if this was a glacially carved landscape, because it's very kind of flat, but really it's very spectacular. Seeing all the surrounding mountains, and there's some granite formations ahead. Yeah, just loving the section. So I've just come over the top of a crest, and in the distance I can see what looks like Grey Mare Hut on the top of a hill. It's kind of perched up there, and the light is actually hitting it, which is amazing. And yeah, that makes me feel very happy, because I feel like the end is in sight, literally. Final push. So, made it, and it's the end of day 3. It's been a pretty awesome day, I have to say. Like, visually, I thought this was probably the best day so far. Just the landscape through this section has been outstanding. All the valleys and the grassy sort of areas, I think, and the fact that so much of the snow gums in, quite a few sections don't look like just skeletons. That was really good. The tech side of things really was a bummer today. Having my camera basically be out of action for the rest of the trip, that really sucks, but at least I have this as a backup, right? So it's something. And it's funny because I have pretty much every contingency. I have way too many batteries. I have a power pack, and I even have a spare lens in case I fell over and cracked the lens. But the one thing I didn't pack this time was an SD card. And that's because normally my spare SD card is in the drone. But I don't have my drone here because no drones allowed, so I didn't think to pack it. I did pack a spare one for the South Coast track, so it is something I've thought about. But yeah, not this time. So good day, some sort of extraneous things that were a little bit annoying, but yeah, it was a really good day of hiking. So a really cool feature of Grey Mare Hut is that behind it is the remnants of an old mine. So this used to be a mining camp, basically, and the mine here was abandoned after it flooded. The upside for us is that there's a tap of water just free flowing, so that makes it easy for a refill. But yeah, and the other thing is there's all these cool remnants of the mining era which are left here. I mean, when they left it here, it would have been kind of basically junk, but because it now has a heritage value, it's become valuable junk. So let's go have a look at it. So it's the morning of day 4. We're now into the second half of the walk. Now, yesterday was, I think a lot of it was about the natural beauty of it. Mount Kosciuszko, which I, for some reason, just failed to mention yesterday, was sort of the anchor of the walk. And then you had all the beautiful plains to walk in. Now, I don't know what today's going to bring, but I am excited about 2 things here. We're going to see a hut that's called Valentine's Hut, which is a beautiful, smallish red hut. And then we're going to see the mansion of huts in the Kosciuszko area, the Schlink Hilton. Now, the Schlink Hilton would probably be the better one to stay in, but strategically, White's River is probably the better one for me to finish at today. And the reason for that is that the weather's supposed to turn. It's supposed to be pretty rainy tonight and all of tomorrow. So tomorrow's going to be a pretty crappy day. I'm going to have to definitely take the official AAWT route, which goes along the bottom rather than across the rolling grounds, because you just shouldn't do it if the weather's not good. So it's looking pretty bad, so I'm going to go that way. So today should be an easier day, well, shorter day, I shouldn't say easier, a shorter day than the last 2. So yeah, I'm looking forward to not having quite as long a day, and also looking forward to seeing the 3 huts today. Okay, so that was quite the climb. That felt like it took forever. I think that's the biggest climb I've done, or at least it felt like it. It was very sustained and pretty full on. Now I've reached the crest, I think, I hope. And then I'll descend again and I'll rise again. So yeah, one big hill, a second smaller hill, and then I'll be at Valentine's hut. So I think I made it to the top of the second hill. Now, this being Chapman elevation graphs, it could be smoothed out, so we'll see. But yeah, the weather's kind of taking a turn. It's been mostly just misty, but it started to drizzle just then, so it might be wise for me to get out the umbrella at some point, but we'll see. Kind of resisting it in case there's lightning, but yeah, we'll see. Number 6. Oh, wow. So I've got to say that Valentine's hut was something that was a bit on my bucket list. I'd seen this in photos and on videos of hiking in the Australian Alps, and this is just, you know, such a beautiful building and so striking. And yeah, tick, I've seen it. It's really nice inside there as well. Like, it actually looks like one you'd want to stay in, whereas some of the others I feel like they've intentionally get a bit musty and rodent infested to discourage people from staying. But this one, you know, it kind of looks like you'd want to stay inside. So it makes me think more of a New Zealand or a Tasmanian hut in that sense, that it looks like one that they encourage you to stay in. But anyway, I'm just going to have my lunch break and then press on. And then after this, we'll be heading towards the Schlink Hilton. So I've reached the top of the saddle I've been climbing, and as I've been going up, the visibility has been getting poorer and poorer, and ahead it's even worse. So very spooky and atmospheric. Well, I think you can see why it's called the Schlink Hilton. It is a pretty epic hut, you know, like there's mattresses and everything. I mean, there's a sign saying, for emergency use only, but, you know, this is really geared up very much for people to stay in. I can see why I'm sure people do stay here. It's very tempting to not move on, given that the weather's supposed to be bad, but I really need to get the next 3Ks out of the way so that I don't have an extra hour of walking tomorrow. So I'm gonna have a very short break here and then push on. See what I think is the hut. So, oh, echo. So a bit of an early end for day 4. Today it was a shorter day, which was nice, and all the huts along the way really made it nicely signposted. The visuals today was probably less exciting than yesterday, partly because of the weather. And I think I'm a bit down today. Last night there was a lot of rat activity at the other hut, so I didn't sleep as well as I could, and I was a little bit paranoid being by myself because it was really loud. It sounded like it was a person. And then not being able to speak to Miles and Alyssa, that really wasn't nice, and I'm really missing them at the moment. So that combined with the sort of gloomy weather and knowing what tomorrow is going to be, yeah, I was probably less engaged than I would have been otherwise. But all in all, I thought this was a good day. The huts definitely are probably some of the best along the track today. So yeah, that was very excellent and it made the day. Tomorrow is going to be the real type 2 fun though, because tomorrow overnight the weather's going to turn, and that's going to be pretty crap. Basically, it'll be raining all day, and I'm going to have to set up a tent in the rain at Charlotte's Pass, probably. We'll see what happens. I mean, if it's really bad, I might push on to Seaman's hut, maybe. And even then, like, even if I don't, if Charlotte's is fine, then the plan for the next day to finish it off is to do the main range track. But if it's really bad, there's no point really. So I'll just probably take the management track up to Kosciuszko and get the tick of having done Kiandra to Kosciuszko. But hopefully we can do the real thing. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, for tonight, I'm gonna stay in here because the storms are coming. And yeah, this is actually a nice place to be ending up for the night. So yeah, it's good. So there's a slight change of plans. Had the weather been better, what I was gonna do was I was gonna come through here and then walk across the rolling grounds. And then that would take me to Constant Stevens Pass and then across to the main range. Now, the weather being crap, the alternate way to go is you go down through here, and then you've got all this road walking to do to Charlotte's Pass. Now, my plan had been, if the weather was bad, to go to Charlotte's Pass, and I was going to have to camp here. Now, with the rain, I'm not really keen to camp there, just both for if the Snowy River floods, and also just setting up a tent in the rain sucks. So what I've arranged is for someone to either pick me up here, or the alternative, which I realized looking at the map, is I can come this way and walk along the road. Now, this is what used to be part of the Australian Alps Walking Track. Now they're saying you can take this track instead, but this is technically still part of the AAWT. Then what I'm thinking is, depending on how I go, if I take this section of the Snowy Alpines walk, which is a new trail, looks to be a little bit more tourist friendly, I reckon. I can take that, then I can take the vehicle track to the summit, do that, and then be here on Sunday to get out and down. So hopefully, I mean, that's a lot. That through there is like 28 Ks, but it should be all tourist standard. So I'm hoping I can get a faster pace than I have through some of these really challenging sections. Anyway, we'll see.